This is going to be part 1 of a new series on my channel where I'm going to be rating from 1 to 10 every number 1 draft pick. So we're going to go through 10 starting at 2022 all the way to 2013. Before we get started, make sure you like, subscribe, follow the TikTok FTFooty. More stuff coming on this channel soon, so ring the bell and let's get started. Cadman was the 2022 number 1 draft pick. Now for a lot of these earlier draft picks, it's going to be rating them based on how they've done and a little bit looking for the future. The first sort of 7 names I'll do in this video, they each have the potential to be one of the best players, if not the best in the competition. So these really early draft picks, it's hard to tell. Now, statistically, in 2023, 12 games, 6 goals. That's decent. I mean, look, you can't expect a number 1 draft pick to just break into a team like that. GWS making prelims, so it is a hard team to get into. I like what I've seen from him. Overall, let's give it a 6 for now, just because number 1 draft picks in their first year have done a lot better. But as I said, man has the potential to turn into an absolute elite player. Now, the 2021 number 1 draft pick was Jason Horne-Francis. Famously went to North Melbourne, 1 season there, thought, fuck this club stinks, and goes to Port Adelaide. Now, in his 2 seasons, he's played 41 career games with 20 goals. Nearly a goal every 2 games, similar to Cadman. 16 Brownlow votes as well. So the season that just passed for Port Adelaide, he was on fire, really helping that team. Inside work, big-bodied bull midfielder. Once his body fully develops, he will be fucking unstoppable. So far, look, if you asked me this last year, I would have said maybe a 4 out of 10 because shit was just not going well at North Melbourne, attitude problems, but he's in the right club now and is thriving. Let's give it an 8. I think an 8 out of 10 is relatively fair. Now, the 2020 number 1 draft pick was Jamar Gahagan for the Western Bulldogs. Now, it didn't start well for him in his first season in 2021. He didn't get many games, playing 5 senior games, only kicking 7 goals. Those who remember Luke Beveridge's sort of ideology on him was, let's not just chuck him in the starting team just because he's the number 1 draft pick. He's got to fight for his position in the VFL, which I didn't mind. But he's been very good, showing very promising signs. A lot of links between, he's the next Buddy Franklin, the next this, the next that. Obviously, his ability is phenomenal. So far, 45 games, 60 goals, so kicking probably 4 goals every 3 games. I think that's the maths there. And then he's got 7 Brownlow votes, so he's actually had a good start to his career. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Now, the 2019 number 1 draft pick was Matthew Rao. Only 62 games in the 4 years. Those who remember his first 4 games in his first season, he was electric, getting 9 Brownlow votes in 4 games. If it wasn't for that shoulder injury against Geelong, he would be on a different trajectory. However, unfortunately for him, since that injury, when he's been fit, he's shown a lot as a defensive midfielder, getting the most tackles the season that just went. But in terms of his statistics and his attributes going forward and being an attacking midfielder, it's just not quite there. He's just not quite as threatening as we thought he might have been. Look, he's played, 62 games, 17 goals, 25 Brownlow votes. It's been a good start. I'll give it a 7. It's not quite an 8 because I think injuries, unfortunately, bring that down. On to our 5th one here. Sammy Walsh was the 2018 number 1 draft pick. Now, in the 5 seasons Sam Walsh has played, he's accumulated 99 games, 37 goals, 63 Brownlow votes. Famously, his first season, he was, rising star, amazing player, could have broken into the All-Australian. That's how good he was. It's a 10 out of 10. We don't really need to discuss Sam Walsh that much. Now, I am on record saying that Sam Walsh will be the best player or one of the top 5 players for the next sort of 5-10 years. Just because he's been a little bit injured at the season that just went, people forget about him. But this guy is something else. Obviously, the best finals player throughout the finals. And that says something. If you're a big game player in the big games, in the finals when it matters, Sam Walsh stood up, and that's very promising. Easy 10. In 2017, the number 1 draft pick was Cam Raine. Injury problems as well, ACLs, a little bit inconsistent at the start of his career at Brisbane. Hasn't taken the world by storm. 113 games with 104 goals, but only 11 Brownlow votes. And this was a guy that was deemed to be, he could play through the defense, but mainly in the midfield and attacking the scoreboard. But for Brisbane, he's predominantly been up forward, sometime in the midfield. It is hard for him because he's in a stacked midfield team, and they've been stacked in the midfield Brisbane for 5-something years. So I understand it's been hard to break, but 11 Brownlow votes doesn't fill me with confidence, and he's played many games, but I'm not as bullish about him when he first joined the AFL. He's since sort of slid down. I'm going to be giving it a 6 out of 10, a little bit harsh, and I feel like with those injuries, injuries, he might struggle to, become one of those best players. Now, in 2016, Andy McGrath was the number 1 draft pick. This was a stacked draft for those who remember. Now, Andy McGrath's played 134 games, he's kicked 19 goals, only 11 Brownlow votes. A bit of a defensive midfielder like Matty Rowell, offers quite a lot, leadership as well, those who sort of thought that he could be the future captain. In the 7 seasons he's played, he hasn't taken the world by storm. I've never really remembered a moment throughout his career where people thought, shit, this is why he's the number 1 draft pick. And for that reason, I'm going to be giving it a 4 out of 10. I'm being very brutal here, alright? Like, he's been consistent, and a 4 is way too harsh. I don't want to be giving everyone above a 5 in this video. That's too easy in terms of what was expected as a number 1 draft pick for Essendon. It's a big club who give plenty of opportunity to flourish. It's not worked out, but very harsh. And I will understand if you disagree, but let me know in the comments if you do. 3 more now. In 2015, the number 1 draft pick was Jakob Weitering. If he was from Germany, that would work. Now, Jacob Weitering has played 159 games as a defender and a little bit of a forward for those who remember. He's kicked 11 goals. Brownlow votes don't matter for him because he's a defender, but he's got 9. In all the years he has played, he started off pretty slow. Carlton couldn't find the right position for him. He just didn't seem to fit. For the last couple years, last 3, maybe even 4 years, he's finally found his feet, and he's become probably one of the best fullback defenders, or just defenders in general, for the last few years. And for that reason, it's a 9 out of 10, not quite a 10. If he started really quick and those first 3-4 years of his career were a lot better, he would have been a 10, but we're sticking with a 9 for now. I think that's pretty fair. Now, in 2014, Paddy McCartan was the number 1 draft pick. Super unfortunate career. Look, I am going to give this a 1, okay? But let's be real. One of the most unfortunate players. He's tipped being number 1 draft pick, tipped to be this amazing player throughout his career, and concussions absolutely ruined him. His mental health, the physical health, those sort of issues with concussion, some of the stories are just really traumatic. I don't feel comfortable giving someone a 1 out of 10 with that career because he just doesn't deserve it. But if someone had a gun to my head and said, give me a score, it would be that he played 63 games, 35 for St Kilda, 28 for Sydney. He looks so good for Sydney in that backline with his brother, but that concussion, he's now retired. So sad for him. He kicked 35 goals throughout his career, no Brownlow votes. It's really unfortunate. He's 27, he should be in his prime of his career, but things just happen, and it's one of those, even Alex Johnson, another story, one of those things where footy is just a brutally unfair sport. And our 10th and final player for the part 1 of this video, we've got Tom Boyd, who was the number 1 draft pick in 2013. Tom Boyd, what a famous name. Now, he did play for 2 clubs, GWS and the Dogs. He played 9 games for GWS, 52 for the Dogs. He kicked 50 goals, so a decent goal to game record. No Brownlow votes. Now, the thing with Tom Boyd is he has that famous moment in 2016 in that grand final where he picks up a loose ball after a Buddy Franklin tackle from Morris, and he kicks an absolute blinding goal 60 meters out, BT's off his nut. That moment in itself, I think, earns him a couple points. If you ignore that moment, it's probably been a 2. He's also struggled with injuries. He's struggled with, falling out of love with footy, which is a really sad story in itself. But just because of that moment in the grand final, and he won that flag, so you could argue he had a successful career. He's done what every AFL player wants to do, win a flag. We're going to give it a 4 out of 10. But, he did only play 61 games in how many seasons? In 6 seasons. He retired, obviously, at the end of 2019. So, pretty unfortunate for him. We're being brutal like that. And that is it. Different video here. There will be a part 2 to this. Let me know if you agree with the ratings. I'll put them in the comments below. Like I said, make sure you follow the TikTok FTFooty. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video.